Anyone looking to get involved with conservation in the Midland area is invited to a volunteer open house happening soon with the Forks Conservancy. We are joined in studio this morning by Benjamin Van Dyke, Preserve and Volunteer Steward. Great to have you this morning.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, tell us all about what you do in Little Forks.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who aren't familiar, Little Forks Conservancy, we're a conservation-based nonprofit. We're based in Midland, but we serve the greater Tittabawassee River watershed area. So what that translates to is Midland County, Clare County, and Gladwin County. And my role at the Conservancy, I'm the Preserve and Volunteer Steward. So you can kind of see I have two roles kind of in one that dovetail quite nicely. I manage our nature preserves and I coordinate our volunteer programs. So we're a small team with a big mission. We have about 1,000 acres of land that we preserve as nature preserves, and volunteers are absolutely instrumental to that. So in managing those nature preserves, I partner with volunteers all the time.
Well, listen, I want to hear the personal side of this. Why are you personally invested in this mission?
Yeah, so I've been a nature enthusiast from a very young age. I've always had a big passion for animals and wildlife in general, and so protecting their habitats is a very tangible way to keep those animals, plants, and different ecosystems around for generations to come. You know, you don't have to travel across the country to see nature, right? I mean, there's things like the Grand Canyon or Yellowstone National Park, which are awesome to go and visit, but we have nature right here local in our backyards, and that's really what we're all about.
Well, now you mentioned the watershed there. You know, water is such a crucial part of the big picture when it comes to supporting nature and wildlife.
Yep.
You know, talk about the work that you do with volunteers to keep our watershed clean.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a lot of work on our Three Ponds property just inside Bay County. We do a couple annual trash cleanups a year at that preserve to keep the habitat clean for fish, other wildlife using the preserve there. We also do our annual stream sampling up in the Cedar River watershed up in Gladwin. We go up there once in May and once in September with a crew of volunteers, and we sample the watershed there for different macroinvertebrates, which are basically aquatic insects that can actually help us assess how healthy the river is.
Interesting.
So that's a really fun hands-on activity.
Yeah, you're looking at all sorts of different factors. All right, so talk about this open house. I mean, this is really a chance for people to join in and make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So this open house is really designed for folks that are interested in getting involved in that local conservation that I was describing. There's so many ways to partner with us, from trail maintenance to helping out with some of our habitat restoration efforts, native tree plantings, invasive shrub control, building a boardwalk, you name it. So this event is really intended for folks who are interested in learning more to come out, enjoy some free pizza.
I was
We'll
going to
be
say,
at Pizza Sam's.
Pizza, man. You have pizza. That's
Pizza.
enough of a draw.
I think so. I think so too. Yep. If you're a fan of pizza and you're a fan of nature, I think that's enough of a hook to get people there.
I would hope that's a large swath of people.
Yes, I would think so.
Overall, what are you looking for, though? I mean, the more volunteers, the better, right?
Absolutely. Yep. So by no means is this something where you have to have a certain skill set or experience. A lot of our volunteer events, we provide training right then and there during the activity. Same goes for equipment and supplies. You know, we have a whole host of things from work gloves, safety glasses, different tools that we use for volunteer events. So we never want that to be a barrier for people to think that they have to have a certain background or toolkit to help out. So anyone that's interested is welcome to come.
Yeah, and then just finally, Ben, I'll leave you with the last word here. You know, what's your plea to folks on just taking better care of our natural resources? I mean, sadly, we saw some of those pictures from your volunteers cleaning up all sorts of junk that you find out there in nature. You know, what's your message to folks? Don't do that, right? Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know, we all live in this environment, and Little Forks is there to keep it a little bit more natural, a little bit more healthy, and more accessible to all. So if that's interesting to you, we'll be at Pizza Sam's, downtown Midland, 5 to 7 p.m. tomorrow night, and we'll be chatting a little bit more with Little Forks staff and current volunteers, so folks can answer your questions in real time on how to get involved.
Oh, wonderful. You know, we applaud your mission and what you're doing to keep things clean and beautiful. Great to chat with you this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're back right after this.